Welcome, Silvertree seeds. I'm so happy to be with you and to share this reading with you today. Welcome to Runes of Silvertree channel. My name is NR Silvertree, and I'm here to kick off my first season with the White Wolf Medicine. These readings for the next 3 months will be immersed in the medicine of the wolf, one of my medicines, my personal medicines. I'm really excited about this because I love wolves. I love my wild boar, but I love wolves, and there's so much packed into that medicine. So I hope everyone has had a wonderful first 3 months of the year, January, February, March of 2021, as we enter into the second quarter of this year. So let's get started. So as you can see, this is the official symbol and sigil of the White Wolf Medicine. I don't know. From mine eyes, I can see the shape, the frontal part of the wolf, how the wolf is looking down at you like this, not down at you, but it narrows its eyes towards you, and it makes you become the focal point here. There's so much more packed into this symbol, and I guess I just want to talk about this symbol and just allow whatever flows through for the human collective at this moment to flow through. I haven't really, a topic hasn't come to me, so I'm just going to break down what this all means here. So here you can see the letter V, 3 lines, and a dot at the very point of the open triangle here. Now, this symbol represents the womb of all creation. The 3 lines represent ancestry. Okay, this also represents what is being manifested. This is the energies, okay, the lineage, knowledge, the wisdom that is brought through the portal and manifested into this seed. Okay, here again, ancestors. This is a very strong symbolism and sign of ancestors. Also the ascension and back to source, the return to source. I know in the spiritual community, which is actually entering into the mainstream, when I listen to self-help messages online, there are a lot of people who not necessarily, they're not wearing the mask of a spiritual guru, but they're very much into motivation and, doing better for yourself and, working on your best self, your best life. These types of phrases and this type of messages that I run into online where people are, focused on self-improvement. And I look at that as a way back to the self, a way back to source, a way back to spirit. Okay, here is the sun. The sun is the star, Astra. Okay, here is the mountain. Okay, the mountain is Terra, Earth. Here is these are the clouds. Clouds meaning consciousness. Okay, the mentat, the thinking. So you have the body, you have thought, then you have star. Okay, Astra, otherworldly, if you will. And I feel so connected with this rune that came to me. There's so much impacted. I see children here. Oh, wow. Okay, this is my first time seeing this. So we're here. We're the seed, right? The mother gives birth, or you have this tiny being, a being, like usually at the very beginning of a woman's journey of motherhood. She'll go to the doctor, she'll go to a medical physician, and they'll take a picture of the baby, and they'll say, okay, your baby's, as big as a jelly bean. Okay, now they're turning into like a small plum, and then a grapefruit, and then, the watermelon, right? But here we are at the very beginning of our evolution. And here we are as a toddler. Here we are as a child or adolescence. Okay, you can say child, so baby, child, adolescence, and then we enter into adulthood, and then it's open-ended here. So I see evolution right away. I also see a return, the return back to source and what is real. And this phrase that came up before the reading, all paths lead to the one path. Okay, all paths lead to one, meaning whatever you choose, you shall return to source. Whatever way, which way, the left-hand path, the dark path, black magic path, the white magic path, the Buddha path, the Islamic path, the Christian path, the Hindu path, the pagan path, the atheist path. I was speaking to my father today, and he mentioned, what did he say? That had me thinking, he said something very similar to what I just said, that any direction and any path that we choose, we will and shall return to source. Okay, it's unavoidable. We label each other as evil, good, righteous, virtuous, a troublemaker, maleficent, benevolent. Like we label in this realm, in this earthly realm, labels are everything. Labels dictate how much you make. Labels dictate how committed and loyal you are, how unloyal you are. Everything is very, very, very superficial here. And as you can see, you have these layers. Some of us on the spiritual path are obsessed with this ascension process. I have to ascend the golden age, the Aquarian age. I have to ascend to what? Where are you going? To ascend to where? To who? Why? To what? We're being told, the ancients. I'm not saying the ancients were wrong, but sometimes his stories get a little muddled. There's a misinterpretation, I think. Because what goes up must come down. Always. What goes up must come down. And what's so very interesting is that, just picture this, another triangle right here. And it's like at a meeting point. So no matter how far and deep you go down, you're going to meet source. No matter how confused, lost, alone, or lonely you feel, you will meet source. No matter how conscious, aware, evolved, you are going to meet source. This is, in the words of Fela Kuti, this is a spiritual game. Really and truly, this is a spiritual game of consciousness. I've been in conversation with a practicing Buddhist, and very interesting, the path of the Buddha. Have I felt called to it? There's been once or twice where I felt the call, but I'm like, at this point on my path, and on many different paths, we have this beautiful thing where we are told that we have free will. We can choose. But sometimes, have you ever felt like no matter what, you feel like you're being guided to do the things that you do, even if it's not the most loving, or maybe it's extremely loving, and you just feel guided to do it, like the story has already been written. Even those who practice manifestation, right? You're told you are the narrator of your life, you are the co-creator, create the life you desire to live. And all the while you're writing down on a piece of paper exactly what you want, but in reality, like, you're already meant to have it. You're already meant to have everything that you desire to manifest. What, who are we? Who's in control? Who's in control? Is it you that's in control of you? Is it me that's in control of you? Is it us that's controlling other people? Are other people controlling us? Who's writing the narrative? Why is there a narrative? Why do we need to change the narrative? Where do we go from there when we do change the narrative? Does the narrative need to change at all? We're always really obsessed with this needing to evolve and to expand and to be different and to change. I mean, on the lowest levels of the human collective, it's very image centered, very, very ego image centered. So that means trends. Okay. Ooh, look how she's wearing her hair. This is a new trend. Ooh, look how she's cooking her food. This is a trend. Ooh, look how she's modifying her body. This is a trend. That's like a very low, lowest experience, I think, when it comes to this need of always evolving, always what's in the moment, being of the moment, right? And on a higher aspect of it, of it evolving in this need to change and shift. And I feel it within myself, even in the most mundane things, how I eat, the clothes I wear, what I consume on the synthetic web, right? It's quite interesting. So yeah, I guess here you can see, like, there are different levels that you can explore of yourself, but I feel so called to kind of go into the phrase all paths lead to one. That's funny. I'm looking right over and I see all in one. It's a box, my printer box that I have, and the label says the world's smallest all-in-one printer, but there's a label that says, but in that phrase it says all in one. So that's confirmation right there. All paths lead to one. So whatever you choose, you can say, you know what, I'm not about that spiritual life. I'm not about that guru crap. I'm not about the manifesting your reality. I'm not about that healthy living. Okay, that's fine. But you will know source. It's unavoidable. Another thing my father told me in our conversation today, he said, everyone will know the truth of who they are. He said, and it's a blessing to be aware of it before you leave this world. It truly is. To know this, you're here, we're here on Earth, Terra, right? Okay? But there are levels and steps of awareness. There truly is. There are doors, there's dimensions that you can access before you leave, before you return to source. Okay? And it's a beautiful thing to begin to expand your consciousness and enter into the space of the mentat, of the thinking, right? Becoming aware of ego. That's a big one. becoming aware of ego, becoming aware of the emotional body, becoming aware of the physical body, and knowing that you're more than the body. And when you go through these steps of awareness of ego, awareness of the heart consciousness, right? And awareness of the body, knowing and feeling that, I am truly infinite. This is infinity. Source is infinity. You cannot destroy infinity, but you can try to trap it. I read that today somewhere. You can try that. That's the hiccup. We are truly infinite, but we can get heavy. You see here, it can be a block. These blocks can be the very thing that keeps us from this awareness of infinity and what does it mean to be that. And it's quite interesting. But we have to be very careful of not making spirituality into this hierarchical or hierarchy. Like I am holier than thou because I take this simple path. And because I think there's everything for everyone out there. People who practice, witchcraft, sorcery, Reiki, or people who call themselves light workers. There's always something out there that will resonate with you. But the most important thing is the act of being and not doing. Don't get lost in it. One of my mentors shared that with me a few days ago. Don't get caught up in the act of doing. That's what keeps, and these are traps too, if you can see. This is what can trap you in certain realms of consciousness. Because and that's the thing, that's the key, your consciousness. Right? It's not just about feeling, and it's not just about the body, right? The sensation, the physical aspect of experience. It's wherever you vibrate, this is vibration. Wherever you're vibrating in your consciousness, you will take it here. Right? So let's talk about because this is very masculine energy, okay? It's very masculine. Then you have the feminine, the depths, the dissension, right? Or in, I'd say, Christian, or I call them people of the book, the Jews, Muslims, and the Christians, because they follow the book. I mean, there are other religions and faiths out there and paths that they use a sacred text, but the people of the book are like hardcore with it. But their term is hell, H-E double hockey sticks, hell. The dissension. So as before I mentioned, what goes up must come down. Okay. And and here's the rune here. Okay. This, I see the portal. I see the portal of the womb. Okay, the womb of all creation and the vibrations and the mothers who came before. If you look at this, anytime I was talked about this the other day to a mother, anytime there's a soul that comes through this womb, ancestors are here. You see that? There's a genetic link. And the mother who came before her, 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 and her, and not just mothers, but fathers as well. And, it's something that, when I think of ancestors, you have to be very careful with that as well. They're always there. There's a purpose with the ancestral connections and spirituality, but you have to understand and understand and overstand that you can't get so caught up in the genetic and biological programs here on Earth to where it can block you. You have to be very careful of that, because not only do you have the stories in your own current life at this moment right now, but you carry the stories of all the women and men who came before you within your DNA. And at times it's very dormant. Sometimes the stories and the karma, which, karma is widely used, I think almost overly used, but the stories that are passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation, and then sometimes the story's been played out so much, and the story's been realized and actualized, that you evolve. The story no longer is resonant, because this is frequency, this is vibration. It's no longer resonant in the bloodline anymore, and so you evolve past that. For example, a really good example of this would be, and this is pretty dark, but if you come from a lineage, and I'm talking about the shadow lineage, not the, bright and loving and, lovey-dovey and butterflies and rainbows type of beautiful, genetic stories that are passed down from our ancestors. I want to dibble-dabble in the dark a little bit here. For example, you'll have multi-generational rape, okay, or incest. And you have these things, or alcoholism, drug abuse. You have these things that are just, the stories continue to pass down generation after generation after generation, generation after generation after generation. Oh, and if it's, sometimes I don't think it's just free will. I also think it's what you come in with your consciousness. And if you are in frequency with that storyline, then that storyline will manifest into your space, into your life, into your existence. And but with me, like I'm going to speak personally here. I mean, the buck stops with me. Like, there are things in my own bloodline I am not carrying through in this life any longer. Okay? This also can be symbolic of multi-generational curses. This could be poverty, incest, alcohol, and drug abuse. That these things, you can stop it. And you see that there's a space here. So you've evolved from all of this, and you're leaving this behind. And now you're one. Now you're all in one. You're one with the source. Because you evolved, you let these things go. Now, in a more positive and uplifting and loving space, you can have things like generational wealth, healing abilities, the capacity to serve humanity on a not a large scale, but in a way that is very impactful with the communities that you're involved with. So these are very beautiful things that you can bring into your life. Okay? Now, again, in my family, there are healers, and it comes in different ways. Nurses, healthcare providers, healthcare professionals, teachers. I have a lot of teachers in my family. And I have taught. I've been a teacher. So, the capacity to share the wisdom, and the ancestors show up for that. And the ones who spent their lives doing those things, those beautiful things, help you. They help you. And the ones who got in dibble-dabbles in dark, and there was darkness, they come through too. In very, 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 sneaky ways. So whenever, to those of you who do a lot of work with ancestors, you really need to identify attributes in your bloodline and things that were not so good. So beautiful gifts that have shown up in your reality, and in your mother's, your grandmother's, and the one who came before her, and the one who came before her. And if you see a long line of something that is not really serving the bloodline anymore, and you also see it in your reality, pay attention to that. If you see something beautiful, beneficial, that you're able to share in a space of grace and gratitude with other people, and you help build them up, look at that. Really pay attention to that as well. So if anything, this rune has you look at your connection, your genetic and ancestral connection, what you want to bring in to your reality, and the things that you should bring into your reality, into your existence, and the things that you should discard and let go. Okay? So that's very feminine energy here at this moment. Here, this is more focused on the illusion. Okay, we can get remember, this is the mountain, clouds, star, sun. Okay, mountain, clouds, star. So you have the earth, wind, fire energy. Now, you could say, well, Naja, where's the water? Whatever resonates, okay? This can be water as well. All right. But to make it and simplify this explanation here, don't get locked in the illusion of reaching enlightenment. It's constant. Change, evolution is constant. Constant. If I ever bump into someone who says, I've made it, I am awakened, I am enlightened, I know all truth, I run away from them. I don't stick around for that. I think and feel that that's a very dangerous way to be, because what if you call yourself enlightened, you call yourself awakened, you call yourself conscious and all-knowing, but then there's that one thing that you're not aware of, and it knocks you down hard. I mean, you descend pretty fast and pretty hard. This happens to a lot of spiritually gifted people who, yes, they do have awareness and they do have consciousness, and they're expanding their consciousness, they're evolving their human being, they're embracing, supreme loving guidance. But you have to be grounded and balanced. I don't think there's anything else I want to add here. I'm not sure what I'll title this message, but I will say this again, all paths lead to one path. All paths lead to one. There is no wrong or right way. Now, many people would say, especially many light workers, no, you must choose the love, you must choose the light, you must choose it, or you're going to become lost and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not picking a side. But I'll leave you with this question. What does it mean to be infinite? What does it mean to be infinite? What does it mean to you? Is it an important thing for you on your path? Is it not that important? Do you think that your consciousness is finite? Do you think, or feel? What do you feel? What do you feel about the word infinity? I'll say this, and then I'll close out. The infinity, there's a symbol with the infinity symbol, and For a long time, I always felt that the infinity circle was pretty negative. Like there's a very deep shadow part of it that people don't talk about. I see entrapment. If you ever pictured the infinity cycle, like the energy of it, it continues on and on and on. But if you're not on a good cycle, you don't know how to set yourself free. Be open-ended. Don't close yourself off. Don't limit yourself. Expand, but embrace. Ground yourself. Center yourself. When you're expanding your consciousness and you feel yourself, ascending to wherever you're supposed to go, please help me. If you are listening to this message, please help me understand where, because whenever someone says we're the ascension, we're going to ascend, why is there a destination? Okay, let's say that you ascend. Okay, you're here. You meditated, you fasted, you went on retreats, you learned some kind of energy modality to help heal people. You opened up your own spiritual, center, and you made it here. Okay, so what next? Why is there a destination when it comes to this, in the spiritual community of this, like this age? You know what I'm saying? This golden age, this Aquarian age. Because guess what? The age will end, right? It's going to shift into yet another cycle. We're probably, not in my generation, probably not going to see that age, right? It's constantly changing. So why are we all obsessed of reaching this destination to nowhere, to forever? I'm asking you this. I know I'm giving a reading, but if someone can please, elaborate on this destination of this ascension, and what this is, this place, maybe it's different for everyone. Maybe, this whole nirvana thing where you just find your own bliss, I guess. Because for me, it's like if I obsess about reaching this goal, this spiritual goal of ascending or enlightenment, it takes me out of a present moment. To be present is to be enlightened. To be in the now is to be enlightened. You want to practice magic, you want to practice energy manipulation, be present. Then you can hear, you can see, you can understand energy all around you. You can access different timelines if you wanted, but if you lack presence within yourself, you're not. You're just feeding your ego. Ego doesn't like presence. Ego doesn't like the now. It likes to exist in other realms of thought. It likes to have fun. It likes to design and fabricate and fantasize and protect. But when you become present, it's threatened. It doesn't have any food. You starve it. Right? So be heartful and mindful of that, because this whole ascension thing, or the descension, there's some people out there who are really into, dark magic, black magic. They do some really dark things. I've seen it up close, and thankfully nothing too scarring, but it definitely got my attention to where I'm like, that's not the path I want to go down. So, it's very interesting. There are beings out there that are like, they're so deep into whatever occultic or whatever practice that it's very interesting. You see opposites attract. I don't know why that came, but yeah, that's true, I guess. Yeah, opposites do attract. I don't know what the connection is to that here, but I would say be very Practice awareness of the present moment. You know, anything that takes you away from right now, that's ego. Now you can say, well, Naja, you know, I'm about manifesting my reality. Okay. There's nothing wrong with energy manipulation. Nothing at all. Okay. Energy manipulation is a great way to know yourself, know other aspects of your consciousness that go beyond the physical. It's great. But again, when you're busy manifesting your reality, don't be so outside of what's happening that you become disillusioned and then disappointed when you can't meet the expectations. But at the same time, don't limit yourself to where you're stuck in this realm. You can't think outside the box. You can't see yourself doing better. You can't see yourself expanding out of a job, expanding out of the wrong relationship, expanding out of limiting beliefs. So balance is key, and you can find the balance in presence and nowness. You know? So it's something that I'm constantly thinking, like, you know, even ask yourself, like, right now, like, am I being present? Okay, what am I feeling right now? What am I thinking right now? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this way? Move on. Right? So I'll leave you with that. I hope may this message find you whole and find you well, and may you receive something from this. Very grateful to have the ability to share this with you, and I hope and pray that those of you, whatever path, remember, all paths lead to one. All paths lead to oneness. All paths will take you right back to yourself. Right? Those of you who are like, oh my gosh, I'm on cloud nine, everything is perfect in my life. And then you'll have moments where you enter into a cycle where you're like, it feels like you're just falling. You know, you're just like, oh, you enter into an energy vortex and you're like, why? Oh my gosh. It feels like hell. And then the womb of all creation pops you out. And now you're anew. Now you're new. You're brand new. Right? Or you're down here, you're like, oh, my life is miserable. It's so horrible. And then you work, you evolve, you embrace, you expand, you evolve, embrace, and expand, and womb of all creation gives birth to you again. So it's all part of the life, death, rebirth cycle. Constantly moving. Please, if you would like a personal reading with me, please visit my website, www.silvertree.com. You can send me a message at silvertree@silvertreesounds.com. Oh, I'm so sorry, www.silvertreesounds.com. I don't know if I just said that. I'm getting a little tired. All right, thank you so much. Wholeness, beautiful beings.